What up, guys? This is a sick pod. I did it with my boy Ethan. Yes, not me, my boy named Ethan. He owns a company called Zotic Rentals. They literally have a massive library of dope, exotic, high-end cars that they rent out. He started this business himself. It is such a sick pod. We talk about all things entrepreneurship and we ask questions. So you're gonna ask Ethan squared on this episode, you guys. It's dope. So let's get into the pod. What is up, everybody? We are here for an extreme Ethan episode. This is Ethan Zangle, the pod. We're gonna do an episode of Ask Ethan today. And today I'm here with my buddy, a fellow business owner, a fellow entrepreneur, and a fellow Ethan. Ethan, what is good, bro?
Dude, we got Ethan squared
Ethan
here, bro.
squared on the pod today.
Yes, sir.
Dude, what did you roll up in today?
I brought the i8 today. I had to pull up in something nice, so I pulled up the BMW i8.
I pulled up in the catering van, so.
Hey, that's cool too. That's cool too.
Guys, Ethan is an entrepreneur. How did we even meet? I think it was somehow on Instagram, right?
Well, dude, I've been following you for a minute.
Oh, right? Is that right?
Yeah, and I DM'd you like forever ago. I was like, hey, bro, if you ever need a car for anything, hit me up. I got some cars. And then you hit me back, like, probably a year later. You're like, hey, I do need a car. And that's how it happened. So like when you rented that Maserati.
It was dope.
Yeah. So that's how we met. But I first heard of you on another podcast. You were on
really?
Parker Andrees' podcast.
Yeah, and DJ Live, baby.
Yeah, I don't know him all that well, but like I follow his podcast, and I heard you on there. I was like, oh, this dude's cool. I was like, this is a fellow Ethan. You know what I mean?
Ethan squared, baby.
Yeah, sir.
Okay, well, tell us about your business, bro.
Yeah, I rent out luxury and exotic cars. Started with one. There we go. Started with one and just kind of slowly worked my way up. I think we got 24, 25 cars right now.
So dope, dude.
Yeah.
So you take it all the way back, though. Like, so you literally just got a car and set up an LLC and just started renting it out.
Dude, it didn't start that way, actually. So
you under the table?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, bro. Yeah, so I had a Mini Cooper. It was an extra car that I had, and it was just like kind of chilling. I own a shop too. My dad and I own an auto repair shop.
Oh, okay. So that's how you grew up?
Well, no, not really. We started that like 3 years ago, but that's a separate story.
Okay.
The car was just chilling at the shop. Like I had it. I wasn't doing anything with it. I was getting ready to sell it. But then I had heard of Turo. You know about Turo?
Yeah,
Rental car app. I was like, dude, I'll try it out at least. And so I tried it out. I like put it up on there. I think I made like $500 or $600 in a month. I was like, dang, dude, I paid $5,000 for this car. Like, that's pretty good. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep rolling with it. So I kept that Mini Cooper for a few months and just kept going. And then I was like, okay, I feel like I could scale this into something. Yeah. And I love cars. Like cars are my big thing. And so I was like, man, I could, like, I started thinking, I was like, man, I was scheming about like how I could get like super sick cars and not really have to pay for them myself, you know? And that's where it all started. So Mini Cooper, and then a few months in, I just started buying more cars.
So a big part of the drive was you're like, and I'm gonna have access to like a library of cars.
Oh yeah,
right?
Dude. Yeah. Like the i8 that I brought today, like there's no way I've been able to buy that without like starting a rental car business.
Yeah,
you know
dude,
what I mean?
Perks. That's dope.
Exactly.
So then you was going through Turo, and then did you start? Don't you go now like just direct to the consumer?
Yeah. So what happened with Turo is they were really good in the beginning, and then what started happening is, dude, they started adding all these new fees. Yeah, and so it's like an airport fee, a young driver fee, a fee, dude. Like they just started adding random fees on, and it was costing the customer so much money. And like, for example, maybe I'm renting a car for say $100 a day. The customer's paying $200. Yeah. And then I'm getting like 90 because Turo's taking their cut from me too. So they're getting a $90 a day experience from me because that's what I'm receiving. And then they're paying $200. Of course, there's going to be like issues, right? Yeah. And so we thought,
so you don't use Turo anymore at all?
We do. The cars are still listed on Turo, but we try to direct them to our website. So it's about, right now it's about 50-50 as far as like business that we're doing on Turo versus direct. But there's times of the year where it's like 80-20. Like we're doing mostly just direct to our website. So
it's kind of like, do you try to wheel them in to go and direct to you? Like, hey, like better price, better experience.
Yeah, we got to be careful with it because Turo will blacklist us.
Oh, really?
And they're on to us. They know, like they know what we do, and like they're aware of us as a business. And so we're kind of like under a microscope with them. Like it's
kind of like DoorDash. We try to swoop the DoorDash customers into going like right through online order.
Well, dude, yeah, you have to, right? Because it's like, dude, they're charging so many fees. It's just, and so that's what we do. And like, we'll hit them with like a check out our website, and then at the top of our website it's like book with us, don't book with Turo.
Yeah. That's dope, dude. So how long has it been?
A little over 2 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just been a couple of years.
And you got like a shop and where you house everything now?
Oh yeah, dude. We're just down the street from you here. We're like a mile away from here. We've got a warehouse.
What's going on there? Just you're holding the cars, like maintaining them, and people can come check them all out, or what?
Yeah, we just screw around a lot. It's just a big old warehouse.
Just a little fantasy factory.
Yeah, that was honestly like that's a big driving factor.
It's one of my dreams, dude.
It's so sick, but it's small. It's not that big, 3,000 square feet. But yeah, we put the cars in there, and then there's like lot space out back where we can park extra cars, and then we were able to like detail them and like get them all nice and like minor repairs and stuff. We've got a little office, little podcast room as well.
So dude,
yeah, it's sick. A cool dude. You got to come check it out.
I do need to come over.
Yeah.
So what's the vision with the biz? Like, where you see it going?
Dude, bigger than it is now. Like I want to go way big with it. So short term, we're hoping to be able to just build out our fleet a little better here. Mm-hmm. We've got some cars that we're getting ready to sell, some nice cars that we're getting ready to pick up. So hopefully that'll happen in the next, couple of months. We should be kind of upgrading the fleet. And then from there, the move is to start branching out. I'd like to be in other big cities, like Phoenix is on the map.
Yeah.
We're testing Sacramento right now. We've got a Range Rover out in Sacramento.
Testing
the market with it to see if that's any good. And so yeah, we're just kind of like we're just trying to get it all figured out. But yeah, we want to be everywhere.
And then your content game is on fire. I was watching like your TikTok vlogs.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about those.
Well, dude, here's the thing about it is like one thing I'm super passionate. Well, two things I'm passionate about. One, cars. Two, content creation. Yeah. I love making content. Like,
is it just fun, or you feel like it leads to business results, or both? Or?
All the above. Dude.
Yeah.
I just love doing it, and it has definitely generated business for us. I mean, like we've had a couple of videos that have done all right, that have converted into sales for us.
Yeah,
I love that. But that's just a perk for me. Like I love filming and just like making stuff, coming up with ideas, and just putting myself out there. I love creating content, so that's why I started doing the vlogs, because I realized like, dude, there's not very many 25-year-old kids that own a rental car company. Just like there's not very many 25-year-old kids that own like own a Thirst. You know what I mean? Like you're doing the same thing. So
I love it, bro.
It's just cool.
I love it, bro. Well, I'm a big fan. I think it's dope.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's get into it, guys. We're doing Ask Ethan Squared today. So we've got 5 entrepreneur questions, and me and Ethan are going to answer them. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Oh, and I forgot to introduce our wonderful podcast admin, Kenny. What up, Kenny?
What's up, guys?
How's your day going?
I'm here too. My day's awesome.
Kenny slammed her finger in a door and it broke.
Yeah. In the catering van. And then I left it unlocked.
Like a car door.
A car door.
In the car door.
Holy cow.
So sad.
It hurt really bad.
Jeez.
But she's still here on the pod. All right, Ken, let's get into this.
Okay. First question. What's been one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome while running your business?
Ooh.
Both
you first,
of you.
bro.
I'll go first.
You first.
Okay, I haven't even thought about it. Tons of challenges for sure. I would say the biggest overarching challenge that it's an ongoing challenge for sure. It's not like one specific thing, because there's things like like COVID, or there's things like like short staffingness, or things like all these little like things that you would have to figure out along the way. I think the biggest thing for me, and because I have a lot of employees, just the way that the nature of my business, we have almost like 200 employees, is people management. I would say is one of the biggest things that I'm figuring out how to overcome, is like, how do you get people on board and make them feel good and make them ultimately do what you want them to do? You know what I mean? Like, it's actually like probably the toughest equation in business to figure out, is how to make people want to get behind your vision or the company's vision of, whatever it may be, like running a store properly, marketing a brand properly, running your business properly, whatever it may be, like figuring out how to get people on board. So that's the way that you talk to them. It's the way that you give them feedback, the way that you pay them, the way that everything is structured. Just people management in general, I think is no question the biggest thing. I don't have it figured out for sure, but that would be probably like the biggest hurdle that I'm always overcoming, is like, how do I talk to this manager right now or give them this feedback to make them ultimately get their checklist done, or, manage their stores correctly?
It can be tough. It can especially be tough at scale too. Cause like at first, and I don't know where you're at in this process, you say, but like at first when I have one store, I can literally do everything. Be everywhere. When I have 2 stores and 3 stores even, can still kind of do everything. You're working like 100 hours a week, but you can still kind of be everywhere. But when you get into 4, 5, 6, 7, then the equation kind of shifts. It's like you're no longer working on the stores and directly as much with the customers. You're working on the people that are going to work on the stores and going to work on the customers, which is a whole different like thing to figure out. And so I don't know where you're at with that, like if you're having people run the business for you yet, or if you're able to still control it all. But I'd say that's the biggest hurdle for me, and I haven't cracked the code exactly yet, but it's an ongoing process for sure.
Dude, that's funny because it's the same for me.
Is it?
And I don't have nearly as many employees, but it's a similar situation where we're big enough now that I can't be there every day.
Yeah.
And like I said, I own a shop, and my shop is in Spanish Fork. So the rental car company's up here, shop is in Spanish Fork. So at both businesses, I have managers, right? People that are running it. And I've learned that no matter, this might be controversial, but no matter how good of an employee you hire, nobody will take it as seriously as you do.
Of course, yeah.
Nobody's gonna like be about it as much as you are, because it's your baby. And it's, that's the same thing with me. And so we have good employees, we have great employees, but we run into the same thing where it's like, man, I would have done that differently. Or like we try to train them as good as we can to do it the way that we want it, but sometimes it just doesn't quite.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, but on a smaller scale for me. Like I'm dealing with 2 businesses. You're dealing with like
same exact
10.
thing though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it shifts in everything. Like say marketing. Let me focus on how to get car rentals. Now let me focus on how to train someone to get car rentals. Those are completely different things.
Yeah.
Training a human to do something versus doing it yourself. Those are completely different things.
And
it's
dude,
crazy.
People hear you differently. Like you could tell the same thing to 5 different people and they're going to hear it differently.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Literally every single human needs to be like reverse engineered. Like I think about that with my managers a lot. It's like this manager, I need to say things to them this way. This one, this way. This one I need to send a text to every few days and be like, you did a really good job at this. This one, I need to tell it to them straight because they'd rather just hear it and get it done. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's exactly the same thing. And so we're young enough in business that we're still trying to, trying to navigate exactly how to do it and how to train people the way that we want them trained and get them to do what we want them to do, like the right way. And it's tough. It's definitely tough. So I would agree with that. I think that my answer is the same as your answer on that, because I think that everything else we can kind of like you said, there's other hard things. There's other difficult things, but dude, managing people is difficult.
Yeah. And there's no one right way. It's like, you can almost Google everything else.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Like accounting, marketing, these are all like YouTubeable, Googleable things, and how to work with an individual human, there ain't no right way to do that.
Tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Let's do it.
Okay, how do you guys balance your work life and your personal life?
Ooh,
okay. You want me to go first on this one?
Yeah.
Okay, this is tough. Because I'm married. I've been married for...
You're married?
Yeah. I have been.
This is going to give a great perspective because I ain't married.
Yeah, I've been married for as long as I've been in business. So I was married before I was in business. And it's tough. This is another one that's very tough because my wife has been super supportive and like super good. So step 1, find somebody in your personal life that's going to be supportive, because if you don't, then it'll all crumble. If your personal life isn't going good, it's hard for your business life to go right.
That's facts.
You know what I mean? And so I think the way that I've learned to separate it is like I work, like you said, 100 hours easily. You know what I mean? Bouncing back and forth between the businesses. But there is just times where I have to disconnect. And I don't like to do it. And I've had to train myself to do it. I've had to train myself to be able to say, okay, your manager is managing and he's doing what he needs to do. Everything will be fine. If I leave for a day, the business will still be here when you get back. But I love being in the day-to-day. I love being involved in like all of the decisions and the working with the customers and all of that. And so disconnecting and pulling away from that is very difficult, but I've found ways to do it. I've found ways to just like kind of.
So do you kind of like calendar time type of thing, or?
I try to, yeah, I try to. Or like my wife and I have a specific day out of the week where it's like, okay, tonight is date night.
Yeah.
We're putting the phones on do not disturb, and everything will be okay when we get back. And dude, it kills me to do that. But when I do it,
but it's nice though.
It's really nice. Yeah, like it ends up being really good, whether we're going to a movie or just like, you know, like doing dinner or whatever it is. It never has to be anything like too crazy, but there is a set day or time, and it fluctuates. Like maybe it's a Wednesday this week and a Tuesday next week, but date night is date night. And so that's the biggest thing. Other than that, like it's business pretty much all the time. If it's not date night or like we're spending personal time together, I'm pretty much doing business. I don't have very many friends. Like I'm so busy working. Like, bro, you know what I mean? Bro.
No, dude, I think it's a great example because I think everything is so situational. There is no balance for an entrepreneur. It's what priorities do you have in your life? Do you know what I mean? You and I are in completely different situations.
Yeah.
I'm single. I have no other commitments other than my business. Why would I have a balance typically people's balance is work and then like hobbies and then relationships, right? Okay, well, I'm not in a relationship.
Is your hobby business?
My hobby is my business.
Yeah, same.
And so those two make up the entirety of the equation, right?
Right.
And so like I think it's so situational. I have so much respect for other situations and other priorities because I would do the exact same thing.
Right.
It's literally just about what your priorities are. So I don't know. I don't necessarily have like, I feel like society's quote unquote balance with work, but I also think that's kind of bullshit because
well, yeah, you don't need to.
Why would I stop spending time on the thing that I like to do the most to do something that I don't want to do when I don't have any like prior obligation to do it? Now, the only other thing I will say though is what I've been learning recently, which you just said, which is if your personal life's not in order, the business follows, baby.
That's right.
If you're not disciplined in your personal life, the business follows. And I pushed this off for 4 or 5 years, and only in the last 6 months to a year, I've been taking this a little more seriously. But stuff like working out, stuff like eating better, stuff like, having your relationships in a row outside of work, I think that translates to work 100%. Probably more as entrepreneurs than we want it to. Because we're like, I just only want to just focus on this business and like forget about everything else. Like, no, you have to deal with the other stuff too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah, dude, I'm obsessed with my business, right? Like I spend so much time and effort thinking about it that like it is my hobby.
Yeah.
So you're right. There really is only 2 things in my life. It's like my wife and my family life. Yep. And then there's my business. My business is my hobby.
Because the only other thing would be hobby and it's combined with work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is beautiful. Okay.
Yep.
Let's do number 3.
All right.
Okay, what are you guys most excited about with your businesses right now?
Ooh.
You want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
Mine's kind of nerdy. I would say I'm most excited about a lot of behind the scenes work I'm doing. One thing is this is like business nerdy. This is not fun, but I'm working on an ITS system, inventory tracking system, because I'm trying to dial in our cost of goods, and I'm trying to set up like a razor sharp business, like have that edge of operations at a small scale so that I'm running my small scale business like Jimmy John's is. You know what I mean? Or like the these hyper growth, like really dialed in food franchises. That's what I'm working on in my business. So right now, like we're working on a tracking system that's like literally every cup is tracked. And then at the end of the week, it's like you sold this many cups, you have this many left over. Why is there 50 missing? Type of thing. It's just really like deep and like dialed in. And honestly, maybe for like 2, 3, 4 stores, maybe not even necessary, because if you're not planning on doing any more. But I'm trying to set up my 6, 7 as like a, like have that operational edge. So kind of a nerdy business thing, but for me it's exciting. And I think a lot about like the shit that we do that's like not very cool and fancy right now, but one day it will turn into the coolest and fanciest things, like the behind the scenes work. Like I haven't been focused as much on like marketing. I haven't opened a new store in a year, which is not that long, but I'm setting things up for what I think will probably be hyper growth in probably 3 to 5 years at least, probably at least that much. It just takes a lot of behind the scenes work and things that like don't seem cool right now, but it's about to be cool. We got 100 stores and they're all making a ton of money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Versus like it all exploding when we try to do that thing. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm working on behind the scenes stuff.
Well, dude, that's what's funny is I think that a lot of people don't understand that like on social media and on paper, being a business owner is like super glamorous, right? But in reality, there's so much behind the scenes that's like not super cool, not super
stressful,
exciting.
bro.
Yeah. And it's like not fun sometimes. You know what I mean? I always find a way to make it fun, but there are things about owning a business that just flat out are not fun.
Yeah.
And so, for me though, to answer that question, I've got some other stuff going on. So we're sort of the same right now where we're doing a lot of little stuff right now to gear up for expansion. And I'm stoked about it. And nobody sees it and nobody knows about it.
What does that look like? Systems like booking and like type of stuff? Or?
Yeah, that and working with people directly as far as like investments go, getting people in line that want to help us grow by helping us get more cars and expanding the website, like things like that. But to be honest with you, one of the things that I'm most excited for, and this is what popped into my head when you asked the question, is the people, dude. I love meeting new people. I love like this business that I've created allows me the opportunity to meet you, to come on your podcast, to be here. And like I've been able to do like with some content creators, some sick videos recently, like that have been really good. And so what excites me is the opportunities that are coming in the future
that are brewing up
for the people that I'm going to be able to meet and network with and get to know and become friends with.
You're probably renting to a bunch of dope people too.
Oh yeah. I get to meet all sorts of cool people.
Let's be honest, most of the time they're successful people if they're in one of your cars.
Either that or they're trying, like they're pretending to be.
They're pretending. Dude, do you get that a lot?
All the time.
Dude.
All the time.
You're one of those places you can rent to from to do the Lamborghini pics on Instagram, bro.
Yep. And people do.
Put that together.
And people do all the time like that. They'll rent
I'll
to
take
flex
your
on
money.
Instagram. Yeah. Oh, of course, right? Like they're great customers still, and no disrespect to them because they're probably trying to do something. You know what I mean? But there are a lot of really cool, like awesome people that I get to meet, and so what I look forward to is like the next person that's gonna walk in the door.
That's dope, dude.
You know what I mean?
That's a cool angle. I like it. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you guys evaluate the past ups and downs of your business? Or I guess, do you evaluate your past ups and downs?
Yes.
That's a good question.
The answer is yes, I do.
Do you dwell on it?
I try not to dwell on it because here's the thing about it. Dude, we were talking about this before we even started recording. Like, dude, there just is ups and downs. Like, I asked you, is there ups and downs in your business? You told me, of course. And like, dude, there's ups and downs in my business. Like, crazy. My business is seasonal. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean? And so, you want to talk about ups and downs? Imagine not selling anything for a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
But what I do is I've learned over the last couple of years to take those ups and downs and figure out how to make the downs ups, because I know when they're coming now. Like, because my business is seasonal, I know when we're going to be slow. I know when things are going to get hard. And there's always curveballs that get thrown, you know what I mean, that you can't expect. But I can almost predict when things are gonna when there's gonna be a downturn for a little bit, and then I sit there and I say to myself, okay, how are we gonna make this downturn not as bad as the last one, or like how are we gonna keep it up? You know what I mean?
What about like big L's? Like, have you ever like? Cause don't even like. There was like a video where like some car blew up or something, like an engine blew up. Or what was that?
Well, yeah. So we've had cars. We had a car go off a cliff. A year ago yesterday, we had our Toyota Supra get totaled.
Yeah.
We've had engines blow up. We've had cars break down in different states, and we've had to go get them. Those are big L's because they cost us a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is that goes back to like, okay, how do I make this a positive? And every time for us, it's been, all right, let's make a piece of content out of it, and hopefully we go viral. Yeah. And a lot of times it has happened.
Yeah.
So yes, I see those like. It's just a natural effect of doing business. Is there's going to be L's, but how do you take those L's and then make them like sick? And we just make content out of it.
Dude, one of almost the most viewed videos we've ever had on the Thirst page was when we opened. It was actually the location we're in right now. We opened this big ghost kitchen. It was called Thirst Underground, and it was online orders only. And there's the big menu of things that you can only get sometimes at Thirst, and people were stoked about it. And I freaking stirred the pot with that. Probably the best advertising I've ever done for a grand opening. Just hyping it up. You guys, this is going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. And sure enough, 5 p.m. at the grand opening time, literally almost 1,000 cars pulled up. Like, there's videos of this line that goes miles down the road. And what I didn't think about was that with online ordering, where a drive-through, you just take one car at a time. Online ordering, they all come in at once.
Oh,
so right
dang,
at 5 p.m., all of our systems just went ding, 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 ding. The printers are just going insane. We have no idea where to start. We didn't think this through at all, dude.
Dang.
And we just blew it, dude. Like, blew it. Most people left the line. The ones that didn't waited legitimately hours. It was like the most embarrassing in the moment. Most embarrassing, just like complete failure. Like, how did I not think of this type of thing happening?
Dang,
it
bro.
was insane, dude.
That's a good problem to have, though.
It was a good problem, but like I've definitely learned, like, yo, you got to have the operations to back up the hype.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first times where, because that is one of the problems that I've had with Thirst, is like the hype sometimes outweighs what we can fulfill. And I've done, like, because I'm good at creating hype on.
Yeah, you are.
But like, I'm learning how to be a skilled operator at scale with multiple stores. And so this is one of those times where that did not line up. And dude, yeah, total failure. And that night I went on the gram and I was like, I made a video and was like, Thirsty Nation, what up, it's Ethan. I am so sorry, you guys. I'm be the first to say we just got our asses kicked, and like, we want to make it right with all of you guys. Like, I spent literally all night like DMing every order, reaching out to every order, and like making it right and getting people their money back and stuff. But it was that sorry clip and saying like, yo, we messed up, we're gonna work our butts off to fix this, was one of the most viral clips that we've had.
Really?
Yeah, people are like, we love you guys, like, it's okay. Well, like, some people were pissed. Like,
of
like, yeah, that was the worst ever.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were like, you know, appreciated the honesty, and like, it wasn't a front. It was like straight up like, yo, we blew this. And I mean, like, we ended up not even doing it anymore. It was that bad. Like, not like, we just closed down this Ghost Kitchen location. It was a huge L, dude, but it was, I think, you know, an L is an opportunity in a million different ways. It's a million different ways of like, yo, I'm never going to blow a grand opening like that again.
Yeah, you don't make the same mistake twice.
Never going to do that. It was an opportunity with that piece of content. Tons of people found out about me and Thirst for the first time from that piece of content. And I've been told that lots of times, which is crazy. Like, in the moment, I was like, this is the worst. But dude, I think it's all about how you respond. It's about the bounce back.
Well, dude, that's the thing, right? And people appreciate like when you're genuine.
Yeah.
Right? And you are your brand, right? And I'm trying to do the same. Like, I want people to know me. Like, you are Ethan from Thirst, right? Like, that's how people know you. And like, that's how I want to be known. I want to be known as like Ethan from Zotic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, you being genuine and being your brand, like, hey, look, here it is, me, the owner, the guy, like, I'm apologizing to you personally. Like, like, that's
like, we messed up.
People like that, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that might be an L, but like, people are like, you did exactly what I was just talking about. You turned it into a W by like showing people that you're genuine and like you're gonna make it right and all of that, you know?
Yeah. And L's in business, like, let's keep it in perspective. An L in business is like, well, at least we were in business attempting to the thing at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you really think about it, like, it's not really an L. Like, what are people gonna like say that like you should have done this way? Well, you didn't do it at all. So, well, you know what I mean?
Dude, and here's the other thing. Like,
at least we're out here trying.
Dude, right. That's what I was gonna say. Is like, at the end of the day, if my doors are still open and like I've got enough money to pay the bills at the end of the day, like, I'm still winning.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm still in business, as long as I'm still in business, I'm still winning.
Yeah, dude. 100%. Cool.
Okay, last question. How did you raise funding for your businesses?
Oh, dude, I've got a fun story about this. People go nuts when I tell them how I started my company, where I got the money.
This is like the hottest topic too, I think, which I think is also, I think in a minute, but I think that everyone is always like, you know, how do I raise money for my thing? Or I don't have money for my thing. Or like, how do you, like, they're just working on their pitch deck. Or whatever it is. Or it's like,
okay.
Yeah. But anyways, tell us your story.
Well, dude, okay. All right. Yeah, I want to go first on this one because I love telling people this. So my business partner, I got to give like all the credit to him. He's my brother-in-law. He wasn't my brother-in-law when we started the company. He was dating my sister. Now they're married now. he was working at a bank at the time, and he like knew the ins and outs of getting loans. He was a loan officer. And so when I started renting out that Mini Cooper, I was like, okay, I want to get more cars. I was broke. I had no money at all. Like the $5,000 that I spent on the Mini Cooper was the $5,000 I had. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I was making a little bit of, $600, $800 a month or whatever from that. And then I had the money that I make at the shop that my dad and I own. But dude, I didn't have a ton of extra money. And so the question was, okay, how do we get money to buy a ton of cars? And my business partner was like, okay, dude, well, here's what we do. We'll just go to a bunch of different banks and get pre-approvals at all of them in the same month. Okay. And then close a deal at every single bank. So, dude, I went to 5 or 6 different banks, got auto loan approvals at each of them, and then just went car shopping. Huge risk, because the next month it hits your credit report. Yeah. It tanks your credit for a minute. And it's like, okay, well, now I've got $3,000 a month. At the time, it was probably $2,500 or $3,000 a month in car payments, and I'm not making that. So hopefully these cars rent enough to at least make those car payments. Yeah. So that's what we did. Both me and my business partner did that exact. Which probably
held you accountable too. You're like, yo, 100%. This has to work. I'm gonna die trying because of my name's on that loan.
So that's the thing. That's what I want to say about raising money. Is a lot of the time I think people are like, okay, I need to find an investor. I need to get some money. And dude, honestly, that's low-key kind of the easy way. Is if you get lucky enough to find somebody that thinks your idea is great and they want to put money behind it, that's awesome. Lucky you. There's nobody on this planet that would have looked at 22-year-old Ethan Ashby and been like, yeah, I'll give you $300,000 to go buy cars. Yeah. But the banks were like, okay, it's just an auto loan. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it worked. So we had to get really creative with it, and it did hold us accountable. No matter what, we're making those car payments. Yeah. And so that's how we did it. And then now it's a little different. Now we've got a track record and numbers. Now people will invest with us because we've proven it.
Yeah, dude. It's if you're so good as an entrepreneur, if you're so confident that you have the audacity to say, I'm going to start a business, then why are you afraid to pay that money back? Right. You know what I mean? This idea of Shark Tank, where you get an investment that literally it's not a loan. You get an investment that's just an injection into your business idea, is completely fake. Pretty much.
That doesn't happen.
It does not happen.
It didn't happen to me anyway.
I've been in business for a while now. I've got a little bit of a track record. I can't even really do that. There's no one that's going to give me millions of dollars just injecting as quickly as it is on TV. That is not a thing. No. If you're a real entrepreneur, you should be so confident in your idea that you're like, I don't care how I get the money. I'll pay it back. Right. I'll pay it back with interest. It doesn't matter. I'm going to make 10x this eventually anyway. Right. So, dude, I agree with that.
And here's the thing.
Same story for me, by the way.
I want to hear yours. I was going to say, here's the thing about it, dude. I don't own a home. I rent where I live still. And the reason I rent where I live still is because I went and got...
You're all in on your business.
$300,000 in car loans. Dude, the banks look at me and they laugh when I'm like, yeah, I need a home, I need a mortgage. Yeah. No, that's not going to happen. So it's that's the kind of dedication. If you want money to start a business, it's out there, but you got to really commit to it.
Yeah. And you also have to have a track record. So I think what's good about your story, and I'll tell how mine is, you started renting out a car, and AKA started getting revenue in, and started proving yourself as an entrepreneur, proving that the model worked because you actually have numbers now, and AKA created a track record. You don't need funding to create a track record. No, you don't. Do it a different way to create that track record, and then we could get into the talks of how you're going to get a larger sum of money, which in my opinion, still should be paid back. If you really are confident about this business, why wouldn't you keep more equity, pay the money back, and because you know that the business can easily pay for it.
Especially if you're going to be long-term, right?
If you're going to be long-term,
forever, don't sell equity.
Good point. If you're doing it see, this is not my world, but and probably isn't yours, but if this is a tech startup that you're going to go sell quickly, that's not my game. Right. But if we're talking about a real practical business, dude, I started a freaking snow cone shack. And build it from basically no investment, nothing. In fact, the way that I started my shaved ice shack, I wanted to start a shaved ice shack. I was 16. You need a shack, right, to put somewhere. Right. And I found one on KSL. It was $10,000. It was a coffee drive-through shack. I did not have $10,000. I was like mowing lawns before that, lawn mowing business. Maybe had a couple thousand, but not that much. And so I went to but in the KSL ad, it said, open to business inquiries on this shack. Like, huh. So went up, looked at the shack up in Heber, and like the shack, that's where they were storing it, up in Heber. And I was like, okay. I went back home. I put together a model of how many shaved ice, basically like a projection, like a P&L, that basically the same format I use today. This is how many snow cones I'm going to sell. This is how much it's going to cost me. This is how much my employees, my overhead, and my cogs are going to cost me. This is how much I think I can make. And I pitched the lady who's now was the co-founder and ultimately invested in Thirst at the beginning. I told her, I think we split it. I think it was just 50-50. I'll give you 50% of the business. I'll run it. I'll do all the work if I can just use your shack.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, dude. And I did it
sick.
for 3 summers and just worked my ass off. I worked every shift in the shack, made her some money, and really proved, like, at that point, like 16 to 18 years old, I'm running this business. I created a track record for myself. And then Thirst, the idea of Thirst came along, and she had just sold a house, and like it wasn't a lot of money. We're talking about like the initial Thirst investment was sub $100,000.
Dang.
Sub $100,000. It was just for initial rounds of inventory to paint that first building and like a little bit of equipment, like and payroll for a couple weeks. Like it was really, really small, and like we really haven't raised money ever since. It's all profit from the business. But I think it's just that little investment I got came from track record that I built from no money. And even the opportunity I had where she said yes to the 50-50 split came from, I have this lawn mowing business I've been doing since I was 11, and I'm hustling over here, and she could see that. So little track record built into some more track record, built into more track record, and I think I'll have an easier time finding investment for the next business I do because of my track record at Thirst. So I think, dude, I'm a fan of loans. I'm a fan of paying it back.
Me too.
I'm a fan of paying it back because it holds you accountable. And like, dude, when there's no daddy giving you a bank, daddy investor or daddy, like, dude, you got to make payroll. Like this reminds me of the first year. Like, so she gave me that little investment, but like, it wasn't like she had more money. Like that was it, right? The first year I hired like 10, 15 employees right off the bat. Yeah, I had like 3 after 2 weeks because I couldn't afford any of them. And I literally worked open to close every day. And so like it holds, but I learned how to manage labor. I learned how to build sales. I learned how to do all this stuff because I had to. You know what I mean?
That's wild. That I've been in the same boat, right? Like where it's like, bro, I just like there's no other money. Like,
have you been in situations where you're like, either I'm gonna pull something out of my ass right now, or we're screwed,
dude? Like,
because I've been in that way too many times, dude.
Like that still happens now. To be honest with you, dude. There's been times where I've had to take like, okay, well, I got a big credit card. I can cash advance it to make sure I'm good to go. I got some car payments I'm not gonna be able to make. Like, let me just cash advance this. And it's just, dude, it's just part of the ups and downs. Like, dude, there's times where it's like we're killing it and we're paying off cars quick, and then there's other times where it's like, oh, bro, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna make the minimum payment.
Dude, yeah. One time I needed to make payroll like a couple years ago, and I was like, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And I literally exported every person that had ever come to Thirst, and I pulled out my phone and I was texting them about offering them our catering services, and I got like 10 people to say yes. I got a down deposit, 75% down, and I made payroll.
Dude, I have done that same thing. I'm telling you, like insane, I'm talking, dude. Text our customers, like our best customers that I know are down to rent a car. Like, like, hey, dude, like, I'll give you a deal on this car. Like, I just need to get it out of my warehouse. There's nothing that drives me nuts more than walking into my warehouse and seeing a bunch of expensive cars sitting there. Because if they're sitting there, they're not making money.
Yeah, it's overhead.
And so it's like, dude, I walk in there. I'm like, there's too many cars here. Who can I text? Who can I get to rent a car?
Yeah. I love it, bro. This has been epic, dude. Yeah, man. Double Ethans can only be double good.
That's right.
Appreciate you, bro. Keep hustling.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast.